Hey guys! Have it also happened to you that you're working with GPT-5 and you feel like the previous version were better and you kind of miss using the different versions that were available rather than only having access to GPT-5, or you've seen the backlashes and different type of messages about the people talking about GPT-5 is not as good as they promoted and the previous version were better. In this video, we're gonna actually go through this and see that is it exactly a problem of GPT-5 or is it something fundamentally changed and we need to also change the prompt of it. So this is going to be an interesting video. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. Welcome everyone to our channel, AI Fun Fact for All. For those of you who are new to this channel, my name is Pedram. I have a PhD in computer science, and in this channel, we talk about AI and machine learning and how we can use it in order to improve our efficiency. As I mentioned, this actually happens to me myself when I'm working with GPT-5, and the fact that they were talking about releasing this version for over 2 years, I was expecting a lot. And then when I work on it, I feel like, this is not as good as they were promoting, and I actually get a better result from the previous version. I can't remember, but I actually dig deeper into the fundamental of the changes from GPT-5 and try to figure out what has changed and whether this actually have effect on us, and do we need to work towards that. And to long story short, the answer is yes, something fundamentally has changed, and the way that you have to create your prompt will change as well. So in this video, I will go over first the two big updates that they discuss, and I will say that how they are actually affecting you. So the first one is model consolidation. So you probably have seen that before. We have different versions like GPT-5, Mini, Reasoning, O3, so many different variations. But right now we just have GPT-5. So this was done intentionally. This will try to actually better the user experience, but it comes at a cost, because at the end they still have all of these models. Or at least a very large majority of them, but they are not exposed to the user. So what will happen is that they have actually a router, and that router will decide which of these models need to be ignited. And how you can actually try to provide to that router will decide whether this needs to go into GPT-5 reasoning, or should it just go to a faster response like the mini version or the ultra fast ones, and focus on the basically latency rather than the efficiency. So this kind of issues make us actually think about the fact that what if the router doesn't work well? That's basically true, because in previous versions, how it works is that you don't need to be worried about the version. You can decide the model, but right now it is more inside your prompt. So I will discuss what you can actually choose in order to make sure that you are targeting the exact model that you want. If it is a complex task, you want to ignite the thinking model. I will discuss that in this video, so make sure to watch until the end. And the other thing is the instruction following. So GPT-5 is actually specifically trained to be very specific on the instruction following. So previously, if you were saying something, it will try to think what you were basically mean, and based on like the overall knowledge, and try to provide you the response. So that is basically one of the reasons. So you try to write something, and then GPT before the file will assume what you were thinking. But right now, in the targeted fact to avoid any hallucination and also try to generate the responses for the agentic models, which actually require the complete sort of basically the output format of the JSON output format, they need to be very much specific on the following instruction and following the style. And for that reason, if you have any vague prompt, basically GPT-5 will not assume anything and will basically provide the response based on that. And that's basically one of the main reasons for that. So now that we know this, I want to talk about 5 basically tips that you can use hands-on to make you get the most out of GPT-5 and don't experience the same issues as before. The first one is basically, as we mentioned, we have the router. So the router, you can use a nudge phrase which make you to choose consistently the thinking model. So usually if your task is very easy, you don't have to, but if you have a hard task and you want specifically to use that specific model, you need to use these kind of phrases inside your prompt. So it's very simple from your side, but it actually makes sure that the router will actually choose the correct thinking model for you. So you can say think hard about it. So you say your prompt, at the end you will add think hard about this, or think deeply about this, or think carefully. That makes your router to actually go to the deeper reasoning, and you can understand that when it shows thinking about this. So if anything above the 30 seconds, it is actually think hard about that question, and you're probably going to get a good response. The second tip is about verbosity control. So previously, this was also an issue. You need to mention that, so what is the length or what is the style, but in here is a little bit even more targeted, and the reason is, as we mentioned, it is very much focused on the style and the structure of the instruction that you gave it. So if you mention in your prompt that you want a short response, it will try to focus on that and try to target your response on that. And on the other hand, if you mention high response, it will try to target that. So in some responses, when you want to get a very short response for a target task, you can focus on low verbosity. For example, you can say some phrases like try to respond in 1 paragraph, try to be concise. And on the other hand, medium verbosity, you can consider, for example, provide the response in 3 to 5 paragraph explanation. Or you can go into high verbosity, for example, in some cases that you want to do kind of like a research and stuff. You can say that provide a comprehensive 600 to 800 words. These specific phrases actually give you the ability to make sure that you are getting the response as you require. For example, when you are asking for a task that requires a long response, if you don't mention that, by default it is actually going to provide a low verbosity, and that will drop lots of basically detail for you. Previously, the model would have assumed that you, for example, for this research, you want a high verbosity, so it generates a high response. But right now it doesn't, and it since obviously just want to provide the best performance overall, it will try to focus the latency and try to provide the response to you as fast as possible. By the way, if you want to get the exact phrases that you can use, make sure to look at the description of the video, and I put the link of all of these prompts that we cover, not just these tips of this one, but also whatever we have, and you can use it completely for free. Moving on to next tip, we have a prompt optimizer. So this is actually a very, very important topic, and we actually covered it a lot in this channel as well. The fact that who is the best one to ask to write the prompt for you, the LLM itself. And this is actually so big that we right now have a concept of meta prompting about it, and the OpenAI itself have provided this optimizer. I will provide the link in the description, so you can check it out. This will actually try to give you the best basically prompt. So what does it mean? It means that you basically give it your original prompt, and then the ChatGPT will try to give you response back that's try to address this. And I look at the structure of the changes, and you can also see that like what changes they have made. The changes are into the structure. So for example, how you want to style your output. The clarity, so as we mentioned, is very important. You need to make sure that it is exactly clear what it needs to accomplish. And finally, the error handling. So if something happens that was not expected, what is the behavior in those situations? In order to use this official prompt optimizer, you need to have a developer account. So this is a medium effort tip, and for developer you need to also provide your banking information, so it's not for free. But I have a solution that you can basically pretty much get a very good result of optimizer using the free ChatGPT itself. So I put the link for that meta prompt inside the description of the video. Make sure to watch that, and you can see the meta prompt that you can use in order to improve whatever prompt that you have for GPT-5, and you will do it with the GPT-5 itself. Moving on to the next one, tip number 4, we have XML sandwiches. So you may not already be familiar with XML, but it is basically a tag which will have this sort of in the beginning and then also close it at the end. So the only thing about this is that you want to make sure the different section of your prompt are actually declared with these basically labels. So whenever you put the background and then you have another background but then in the backslash, then everything that you have in here, so you're gonna also have a background in here, and then you close it. So everything that you have in the middle will actually be considered as your background portion, and then you have the same for task and the output. So what is the reasoning for this? When you have a prompt and you're gonna say, okay, this is the task, this is the goal, this is our rules, this is our definition, and this is the output style that we want. This is very important in cases that you want to have, for example, you want to do with agentic solution that you want to call API or whatever. And for those reasons, you need to be clear on these components, and that's where usually people use these XML tags. And if you can integrate it in your work, you basically provide very clearly that, okay, this is my task, this is the success criteria, this is my context, this is my, for example, few shot examples, and so on. I will also provide a sample of this XML in the description so you can take a look and get information about it. And last but not least, we have basically tip number 5, which is the perfection loop. So this one, it is a higher effort because it will try to run it internally, but what's the process that is kind of come close with the meta prompt, and you will try to actually use the LLM into trying to update itself. And actually LLM right now are actually performing very well in critiquing themselves, and we have so many papers on them, like in the LLM as a judge and act as critic and so on, which are showing that these self-improvement actually can enhance the performance a lot. So how you would do is that whether you have a general question or task that you have, then you try to either provide a success criteria or a rubric, or you can even ask the model itself to provide you a rubric, and then it will generate the response for you, and then you will ask it to use that quality name metric and rubric to say that what score you get, and then you provide a finish character. So you're gonna say, okay, now try to improve on it. So basically it will call the different version of itself, and we try to act as a critic, and then it will try to provide a better response, and then eventually it will try to provide a better response. This one can actually happen inside a explicit loop, or it can happen in before even providing any response to it. It can happen in the test time. So when it is thinking, it will evaluate. Now, both of them are valid option. If you have a more complex, I would say it's better to create those, and then you have a version, and then you will try to basically automate this LLM calls. Every 5 tips that we discuss are not mutually exclusive, so you can have a prompt that can actually stack all of this together. So for example, you can add nudge phrases. For example, try to basically think harder. You can control the verbosity, for example, like focus on 600 to 700 words, and be comprehensive. You can also use XML sandwiches, provide them tags on a specific part, and then you can also run the perfection loop. So you ask it to provide a gradle, and then it's try to score its response, and then provide to improve the performance as it goes on. And there you have it, guys. We discussed what makes the GPT-5 different than the previous version, and what is the root cause of us not being able to get the best out of it. And we also talked about 5 tips that we can use in order to improve the response that we get. As a recap, we have rotor nudges, so that we can get a better reasoning, and basically make sure we consistently calling the rotor that is specific for us. We have the verbosity control, which is basically a fit for the perfect audience or the different task that we want to focus on the exact level of detail. And then prompt optimizer, so we get a better response, sharper prompt, and since the GPT-5 is more literal in that case. And the clarity, we want to get the output structured in a good format, and we want to have a perfection loop, so we reiterate the excellence until we reach to the last loop. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like it. More importantly, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to check out the description so you see the list of the prompts. If you enjoy this type of video, you can watch this one that I talk about why LLM are not deterministic, and we get different responses, and we can go over this paper that discuss how we can make it more reliable. Or you can watch this video that I talk about the different version of what is the correct way of vibe coding and using context engineering for those of you who are interested in learning for AI engineering. Thanks for watching, and see you until the next one.